Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone, and today's video is a suggestion from my patron and friend, Matthew McDade. So, Matthew asked me, he says, there's one thing I can never figure out about The Last Jedi, and that's how come the Capitol didn't just muster all of its forces as soon as the Starkiller base was destroyed and descend upon the First Order? I mean, surely their entire military might wasn't just in one place. That would be ridiculous. That would be insane. That would be like, whoops, we lose World War II before it even starts because literally all of our military might is stationed at Pearl Harbor. That just doesn't make sense. And I was like, you know what? That really doesn't make sense. So I went and looked into it a little bit because I haven't bothered to learn about the world surrounding the sequel trilogy that Disney has created because I really don't care, nor do I accept it. So I looked into it a little bit, and I'm like, okay, let's see. Background of the First Order, how they came to be and how they came to get this power. So it turns out, the New Republic is all like, no, disarmament, we don't want to have armies because that's bad, which is like crazy because generally speaking, the people who win aren't like, let's get rid of all of our military. Usually they're like, you guys, you bad people, get rid of all of your military. So it just doesn't seem to make sense that in this world where we have these planet murdering starships available, that you would just be like, nope, let's just get rid of all of our military because why would we ever need that? So they did that, which is inane to start with. But like, okay, so that happened, fine. So then somehow the First Order manages to go off on the freaking rim of the galaxy and have all of their resources out in little unknown space where nobody's watching to build up this massive new fleet, and everyone's like, nope, that's not happening. And so, of course, Leia Organa's one of the only people, Leia Solo at this point, is one of the only people to bounce out there and be like, guys, this is totally happening. And of course, what would make sense? Leia, a respected rebel general, one of the leaders of the rebellion, an institutional member in toppling the Empire. Nah, she's just a crackpot warmongering lunatic. Let's not listen to her. Let's not pay attention to what she has to say. Why would we do that? So yeah, that totally makes sense that she's off building her resistance in the Republic is just like, no, we just really want war. We just really don't want war so much that we're just going to pretend that it will never happen again. And if we pretend hard enough, then it will be so. All right, so they're off doing that. And meanwhile, the First Order jumps back into play like way before the Starkiller base blows up the Hosnian system. So, and backtrack for a second here, by the way. First Order just pops in out of nowhere because as we've just established, they had been doing their business out, in the unknown regions of the galaxy where people aren't watching them, people aren't looking at them. So they're not exactly spreading their influence throughout the galaxy. So when they pop in out of nowhere and they're like, hey, bitches, we're here to take over, they're essentially a terrorist organization. They're a bunch of terrorists who just hopped in and were like, yeah, this is our show now. And I guess everyone else was like, oh no, we're just gonna roll over like bitches like we did for the Empire. No, the Empire grew out of the Republic. The Empire was the established, seated government. They already had their tentacles wrapped around so many star systems. They already had influence in all of these places. And from my understanding, after the Empire was defeated, there was a great effort put in to eradicate the remnants of the Empire's hold in the galaxy. So we're talking about people on the fringe, people who do not have control over these massive core central planets. But for some reason, everyone's now, instead of when the First Order pops up, so there has to be a certain amount of years that pass between the First Order being like, hey, we're a thing, and then blowing up the Hosnian system because, Rey is aware of the resistance fighting that's happening. People are aware of it. At this point, the Republic has authorized the resistance. They're like, yes, we have your back now. We're on your side. So you're telling me that in whatever amount of time that's happened, they couldn't have mustered together some extra military might or firepower to, help out a little bit, or at least augment their defenses, like across all of these star systems. None of them were like, oh shit, we better pull out those old warships and refurbish them and get them into fighting shape again. Nobody did that. They were all just sitting on their asses being like, I hope Leia saves the day again. Well, I guess so. I guess that's what they're doing, because after the Starkiller base is destroyed, one would think, rather than just rolling over and be like, well, they blew up our system, our solar system, so they win, even though like we blew up their massive solar system killing ship. Like, don't you think that the tables have balanced out maybe a little bit? Like, maybe you have a fighting chance here? Like, also, Admiral Haldo, maybe the time to call in for reinforcements, if I remember correctly, and I've only seen this steaming turd one time, so my memory might be a little fuzzy, but if I remember correctly, they don't start phoning their allies until they're like well into this chase until they've already jumped hyperspace and be like, oh shit, we can't escape them, right? Why wouldn't the optimal time to phone your friend be right after the Starkiller base is destroyed? Be like, oh, maybe they're reeling from the fact that their massive central base / murder weapon is now gone. Maybe there's gonna be some disorganization going on in the light of that massive explosion. Maybe now would be a great time to go on the offensive, bring in all the troops and blow them straight to hell. Nah, we're just gonna run away. That seems like a great thing. Once we win a massive victory, once we have our enemies on their backs, once we have an actual chance here, that's when we should turn tail and run away. That makes sense. That's logical. So what you're telling me is that what happens then, now moving into The Last Jedi, according to Wikipedia and all that, is a bunch of other systems, instead of bucking up and being like, all right, time to join the good old fight, we're like, shit, guess the First Order wins. Guess we're just under their control now because our central government was destroyed and we're a bunch of gigantic walking vaginas. So it really amazes me that I could just do this forever. I could continue for the rest of my life to find problems with this universe, with this new universe and logic, and like it just it's just I'm not asking for perfect, logical, flowy sense in Star Wars every second of every moment of every day. It's fantasy, for Christ's sakes. I'm not holding it to that standard. But if you're going to make this effort to explain these things, at least do that in a way that makes sense. So, once again, your entire premise of The Last Jedi, of The Force Awakens, of the sequel trilogy is just based on pure nonsense. Who's surprised? Not me. What other problems have I missed? I'd love to talk about them. Yelling about this never stops being fun for me. So let me know below if there are other issues that I should address, other issues that you have that you would like to hear being yelled in my wonderful yelly voice, and tell me what you think of my delightful scarf. Yes, it's a scarf, or it's whatever else you think it is. That's all. Hit the like button, share the video, do the things, hit the bell, all that stuff, all the goodness, and I'll be yelling again, probably tomorrow. Probably, most likely. If not, then I won't be. And either way, the world will keep turning.